Hey y'all, Jen here, coming to you today from the steps of Mom's deck, and I swear to you, it's like there's been a conspiracy against me getting this video done. When I was trying to do it yesterday, got started, big thunderstorm rolled in, lots of noise, and then the cat, and that would have been okay probably, but the cat started freaking out. She doesn't like the sound of rain on the roof, so she started yowling, so I had to cut it and waited for the storm to pass, came back, started again, got all the way through, found out that my microphone had died halfway through. So I had to delete that, started over again. My phone pops up a message halfway through saying, "You don't have any memory left." So I had to stop it, redo it, and finally I just gave up and said, "I'm going to do it when I get up to Mom's tomorrow." So I get out here, and first the chickens from next door show up, and I did a bad thing. I trained them to come over and eat birdseed. And so now they're very demanding about it. They came over and they were like, "Bark, bark, 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 bark." So I had to cut and feed the chickens. And then my mom let the cat out and he wanted back in after I'd gotten about halfway through recording. And he's sitting behind me yowling. So I had to cut it. And then I got started again and a train came by on the other side of the lake, but it's loud enough sometimes that it sounds like it's right on this side of the lake. So, let's hope that I can get through the rest of this without any interruptions. I wanted to go back to what I was talking about the other day before we did the garden tour. When I was talking about lying and how when somebody purposely lies to you about something that's going to have a material impact on your life, they're showing you not only disrespect, but they're also showing a lack of concern for your well-being. And this is why when you've had something like that happen to you, you really should not trust that person again in the future, or that organization, or whoever it might be, because they've already demonstrated that they're fine with keeping you in the dark or misleading you if it's going to benefit them, and they don't care if it's going to hurt you. So to protect yourself, the common sense thing to do is to not believe everything they say. If it's, I'm not saying that, if it's somebody that's close to you that's told you a lie that was very hurtful, that's it, that you can never talk to them again. But if it's somebody that's not someone like that, I mean, why are you giving them the benefit of the doubt when they've already shown that they don't care about if they hurt you, if they damage your interests, and that they don't respect you? But the one thing I didn't cover is there's another type of lie, and it's responsible for a lot of the misinformation that's out there, and that's lying by omission. And that's when whoever is trying to convince you of something knows other details that would tend to undercut what they're telling you is the best course of action, or the best thing to do, or the thing to believe, with pretty strong evidence that indicates that what they're telling you is not correct. And somebody who's very bad about this is Fox News. Um, you may like Fox News. You may find it entertaining. It may align with a lot of the things that you believe or want to believe. And I'm not telling you not to watch Fox News. But what I am telling you is, if there are things that cause you an issue, such as you run a business, you sell imported goods, you were told all during the 2024 campaign by Donald Trump that tariffs were a great thing, that other countries paid the tariffs, that it was the way to go. And then we get into 2025, he puts tariffs on everything, and suddenly you find you can't afford to import the goods that you used to sell. Okay, well, where were you getting your information other than, if you were a follower of Trump, listening to his speeches? Because if you were watching Fox News or Fox Business, one thing they never bothered to tell their audience, and I'm sorry about the bird, I'm telling you, it's a conspiracy. Um, one thing they didn't bother to tell you during the campaign, when they would show clips of his speeches, when they would talk about his plans, none of them ever said, by the way, audience, a tariff is an import tax that is paid by the importer, which is usually a company in the United States, and to cover the cost of that, they pass that cost of that tariff onto the consumer. In other words, it's inflationary. It causes the price to go up. I went back and checked. They never informed their audience of that. And listen, they know. Now, I'd be I'd buy that there are people on Fox News that don't know better. Jesse Waters, I'm not sure that he knows a whole lot of anything. He sure doesn't present that way. Greg Gutfield, same. Um, but there are people on their network that do know better. Laura Ingraham, she's not stupid. She does know better. Uh, People that used to be on their network, like Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, these are not stupid people. When they're telling you something and leaving out important details that oppose the argument that they're making, they know what they're doing. They're just not telling you that because if they give you the full picture, you may not agree that what they're telling you is correct or the best way to go. So, the answer to that is, if you're a person who gets your information from those sources, and let's be clear, there are other sources of misinformation. It's not always necessarily lying. Um, there are the bots online that spread a lot of the stuff that originates at Fox News or from other outlets. And the people that are programming and deploying those bots, they know that they're lying. But then there's the people who have gotten their information from Fox or these other outlets that put the original misinformation out there, and they just didn't bother to reality check it, and they're just repeating it. They're not technically lying, they're just misinformed because they didn't bother to check that what they were saying is correct. And listen, that can happen to any of us. I mean, I have in the past shared things on social media and then discovered that they were incorrect. And what I do is go back and I make a post saying, hey, I'm sorry I shared this. I found out this was incorrect. It's still not going to reach everybody that might have seen the original post or retweet or whatever that I made. But, you know, I don't want to be a person that misleads other people. So be aware that there's a lot of lying by omission that goes on. There may be somebody that you know and like on your Facebook or one of your feeds on social media, and they've shared some misinformation with you. That doesn't necessarily make them a liar, but it should make you look at things that they say in the future with a more critical eye. So let's say that you get most of your news from Fox and Facebook, and you went through the 2024 election never realizing that tariffs were actually import taxes. And then we get into 2025, mid 2025 after so-called Liberation Day, and suddenly the coffee that you used to pay $11 for is now $16.99. That's because there's tariff on it. That's costing you more money. That's materially affecting you. And you didn't know about it because the people you trusted to keep you informed did not tell you. There's a very easy solution for this. Widen your sources of information. Go out there and find other people that you can trust. And the problem with the siloed media environment that we're in now is there's a lot of people that have been told for many years by the outlet that they have been following that you can't trust anybody else to tell you the truth. Well, okay, if that's one of the outlets you've been following and they didn't bother to tell you that when tariffs got imposed, the cost of your coffee was going to go up by 40% or whatever, um, should you really only be listening to them? because they're not bothering to tell you what you need to know. So you do need to go out there and look further. You may believe that the New York Times has a liberal bent, or that some other influencers or commentators out there are liberals, but that does not mean that they're always lying. You just may not agree with their political persuasion. But there was other ways to test this thing about import taxes. I mean, if you had remembered about tariffs, if you had remembered your high school history, you would have remembered that tariffs were one of the main causes of the American Revolution. Now, why would the colonists have been out throwing tea off of boats in Boston Harbor over some other country paying the taxes on stuff that was coming into the colonies? Don't think they would have been doing that. Don't think they would have been that upset about it. They're upset about it because it's coming out of their pocket when they had tariffs imposed. Another way you could have checked it, you could have just done a thought experiment. Okay, I'm being told that tariffs are paid by the country that produce the goods that we import. So how does that work? Okay, there's goods coming into Walmart. They're on a container ship. They've got 10 containers. It comes into the port of Los Angeles, and then customs stops it. And what do they do then? Do they get on the phone and call somebody in China and say, hey, we've got these 10 containers of goods for Walmart, and we need you to pay the tariff? Really? I mean, does that sound like a workable solution? We were told over and over again that other countries paid the tariffs. If that's the case, why is every country in the world not funding their government strictly via tariffs? I mean, that's great, right? You get some other country's citizens or companies in those countries or the country itself to pay the taxes. You don't have to tax your own citizens. That's going to make you very popular with the voters. You're bound to get reelected. So why would everybody not be doing that if that was the case? And the answer is, it's not the case. That's why it didn't work that way. The other thing you could have done, you could have just gone to Wikipedia. Wikipedia, as much as we joke about it, is a pretty good information source. It's crowdsourced. It is not, there's no corporate agenda there for generating profit. So they don't have a dog in the hunt in terms of what information they present. So there's a lot of ways of reality testing things, but it all comes back to when you learn that the sources you have trusted for information are not telling you everything you need to know, or have told you things that turned out to not be true. Doesn't matter how much you are entertained by those sources. Doesn't mean that you can't ever listen to them again. It just means that you should not trust everything they say, and that you should widen your net when it comes to where you get your information. If you do that, you're gonna be a lot easier, a lot harder to fool. It's gonna be a lot easier for you to find out what's true and what's not. And so that would be my recommendation. So that's really all I've got for today. I do want to recommend another content creator to you. His name is Andrew Millison. I'm not linking directly to his main channel page because there's a series of videos he did that I just thought was excellent, and I'm going to link to the first of those. Andrew Millison is really big into the permaculture movement. Now, it's kind of a niche thing. It's not something that ever you would be able to feed the world via permaculture, I don't believe, because you're not going to be able to do commodity crops and row crops and things like that. Or I haven't seen anybody that's been doing that using permaculture methods. But what I really like about Andrew Millison is part of permaculture is understanding hydrology. That's water, how it moves through the soil, how to retain it. And so he did a series of these videos in India. And India, well, large parts of it are very arid. And so the series of videos he did was about how people in India are rehydrating their land to make it productive to provide the water that they need for drinking and for everything they need, not using high tech, not using special equipment, not using a lot of money. These are kind of grassroots things that people have done, and I really enjoyed it because it made me very hopeful to see that yes, there are ways that even land that has been really degraded can be regenerated in a very short period of time and made productive again. And again, I like to watch things that make me feel good and give me hope for the future. And so I'm hoping that you will find that same feeling from watching this series of videos that he did in India. So I put the link for that down in the description. As always, I appreciate you joining me. We'll come back next time with some more tips about how to reality test what you see and hear. Not as much what you see. The AI stuff tends to be pretty obvious. Not always, but pretty much. But there's an awful lot of what you hear that's just garbage. So, uh, until next time, I appreciate you watching, and we'll see you again soon. Thanks. Bye.